Yeah, we're doing this again. Hello again, this is Wildberry, and this is gonna be my exit to the Omens controversy. If you've been keeping up with my Twitter, you probably have already seen this, but you know the drill. So, this video is gonna be talking about things that I neglected to mention in the previous two videos. As well as let's just do some things I alluded to. For starters, I want to cover are some things I realized about Ouroboros' response once recently. Okay, so let's get right to it. But the idea that Ouroboros apologized completely contradicts statements they've made about the Patreon in the past. They acted as if such was never the case at all. They acted as if what happened didn't happen at all. And then, any idea that it did happen is just false rumors, even though we have documented proof of it. Here we are. Unfortunately, I can't just show you the tweet directly because, well, as stated here, JOH deleted his Twitter account. Oh yeah, by the way, big development. And now that my Twitter account is actually in a usable state, and I can start showing things from there. I'm namely gonna show two Twitter threads that. Oh wait, I forgot. I forgot for just. I'm so dumb. Before I go any further, do not harass anyone I mention. Seriously. Wait, don't. That will not make things any better. It will only make things worse. First, do not use this video as a catalyst. I'm pretty sure I used that word wrong, but you get the idea. To harass us Ouroboros or anyone who defends Ouroboros. That includes Sonic Show, Chum Zone, and you get the idea. Yeah. Either way, moving on. Time to cover the second thing I noticed about Ouroboros' response that's after the fact. They show this screenshot right here from a news article that I don't see, that I can't find, and that claims that they reached out to the studio and will update the story if they hear back, and Ouroboros claims that they haven't done that. Now, I can understand being frustrated about this kind of thing, but I'm not even sure. Well, I'm pretty sure that wasn't even written with the idea that that there was. I'm pretty sure that wasn't even written by someone who would reach out to the. I'm pretty sure it was just written under the assumption that they would be reached out to, or something like that. I don't know. It's also completely unrelated into the rest of the document. And a thing I'll credit them for here is that they don't show who wrote it. But yeah, you get the idea. Oh yeah. So during my second video, I talked, Sonic Show. Well, says that he doesn't think anyone has read it with any kind of critical lens, and I said, well, I can do that if you want to. And I've realized if I don't, I should probably just put my money where my mouth is and just do it. Alright. So, here we go. Oh. There's just the basic intro stuff. That's right here. Or, basically just a sort of setting up. Basically just giving you the general idea of what the fuck is going on here before moving into the nitty-gritty of all of it. So, they are doing it again with the Patreon and other Patreon pages. They're technically not anymore, but this video was... this document. Whoops. It was made pretty quickly after the game first released. So, whatever. Either way, you get the idea. They were still showing screenshot previews and stuff for their Patreon as well as their Boosty. And they're still technically doing it, but since development of the game is ceased, East. East. Well, actually, it hasn't. And John Rice is still working on patches. This source, or I've seen him say so. Although, unfortunately, I can't find those because I left the Omens Discord. That's still the case today, by the way. Hey. Hey. This is still the case today, by the way. Hey, it's for content that they technically created themselves, though well, some of it is content that is based off of content that they don't have the rights to. Oh. They no longer put Omens on the front of their Boosty page. But once again, this document is pretty dated in regards to the controversy. So I'm willing to cut Farkle some slack here. Yeah, blatant and hypocrisy. Blatant lies and hypocrisy from Ouroboros' end. Especially since through Farkle's unlisted video, you can find that the game was... You can find that they were... And that a user managed to find out that the game was using assets purchased from asset stores. This stands true today. And has only been proven more and 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 more. This one is one off. And it desperately needed more analysis put into it. Reading it in YouTube videos, because everyone just presumed that Ouroboros did make the game when they technically did not. But they did help with it. But they weren't the creators of the game. Oh yeah, and by the way, a commenter on my first video, whom I will not name, asked what my point was here, or when in debunking what Ouroboros says about it. My point was that Ouroboros are willing to lie about what Farkle says in his document, thus throwing their entire response into question. Plus, as another YouTube commenter on Splash Dash's video said, if we're supposed to take Farkle's document with a grain of salt, why don't we take Ouroboros' document with a grain of salt as well? Once again, the now deleted Q&A video. Of course, the Game Jolt ads. This is something I've already covered in the past. I feel like I'd be repeating myself. Well, but yeah, you get the general idea. Game Jolt ads. They were profiting off of Game Jolt ads. In fact, they've admitted to claiming them. This screenshot right here is a strange because the description is inaccurate. Now, why don't we get to here? Venturo of... Well, I will cover later, but you generally get the idea here. The Chaos X tweet. You know, funny story. Hey, whilst I was just scrolling through Bolt's Twitter trying to find something, I'm trying to see if there's stuff there, I never directly replied to any of Bolt's tweets. I just looked and looked for shit. And I found a QRT from Bolt on a thing about Triple Trouble 16-bit getting top free in Game Jolt. Bolt basically complimenting them. I'm forgetting that far and good luck on any in the future. Out of context, that would be nice, but in context, it feels mocking. And confirmation bias aside, it feels wrong. Of course, the JOH thing. You know the drill by now. Oh, I want to particularly emphasize is this where JOH just goes after Farkle in a tweet that's completely unrelated to the game. Of course, there's this Twitter thread that you can't see because JOH deleted his Twitter account. Oh, there's the account. There's the origin of the Sonic Omens. Which, fun fact, that account actually existed before this even happened. And as the account was created in August of 2020, it likely only changed its name after this happened, which is sometime in 2021. Which is pretty funny. The Cars 2 thing. Of course, my verdict on this is, it's not bad, but it's still... that the fact that the music was sampled at all was not the thing that's bad. It's the fact that John has repeatedly denied it. And he's trying to get all technical with it, but we'll get to why. We can't really trust him for this at all. Oh yeah, and this is just weird. Especially since I'd presume John is way older than Farkle. Okay, this Discord conversation, I want to emphasize it a bit because it's pretty clearly... Because it's something that no one really talks about, but it's pretty crucial to understanding this entire thing, in my opinion. Farkle just straight up says that he is worried in the Sonic fan game community. Yet, I've been on the receiving end of this kind of behavior from John. It is not nice at all to... Oh yeah, and about that first thing I mentioned in regarding Ouroboros' response in the video, this is also... I'll confirm. That thing about Ouroboros being really inconsistent with whether or not the initial Patreon drama happened, and also persists into this. Let's also talk about the JOH's Twitter thread thing. Yeah, once again. And Ouroboros' response is incredibly inconsistent. Consistent with how they handled the initial Patreon drama. By the way, you wanna know something? The idea that Bolt is just an employee of Ouroboros is completely wrong because Bolt is the head of the studio. So, really, it doesn't make much sense. Okay, this is something I will criticize. I'm not sure if that's entirely the case. Although this is completely true. I imagine that Katie kinda just dropped her account on there without thinking about it and probably hasn't checked that much because the drama isn't even covered at all in the Discord server. Oh yeah, and by the way, whilst I don't necessarily think they're getting paranoid, whilst I totally get why one would think it's dumb for the entire community to get paranoid, here's the thing. We are extremely lucky that Sega is as cool with fan games as they are. We don't want to push that. But we could risk breaking Sega's trust and, causing the entire fan game community to collapse. Exactly. Oh yeah, and this is just the most laughable thing of it all. Yeah. Oh yeah, and this as well. It's pretty funny in my opinion. Yada yada, this entire Eggman voice actor thing. I'm pretty sure you understand on this entire thing. By now? Oh yeah, and the censorship ship drama. Yeah, this entire thing is just... Jeez. Oh, shit. Right. Farkle also provides proof of this. Us as well. And, yeah. But this entire thing happened as well. I'd imagine these were translated via DeepL, as that's what Farkle used to translate the things in his... Things in the document where he talks about how the studio threatened to sue him. Sorry if my audio sounds bad, I'm just... Ah. But yeah, you get the idea. The Maria drama is something I've already disputed several times, and I don't feel the need to repeat myself. Why was this ever in the game? How did they not catch it? And yeah, this is absolutely correct. You just don't bother with the game. Curiosity unfortunately got the better of me, and I played the game myself. Either way, you get the entire point here. And side note, I feel like they should have like Farkle should have had a warning to not harass anyone mentioned in the document. Yeah, you get the general idea. Here, this is not the most up-to-date thing on the controversy. Yeah, but once again, you get the general idea. Now time to get to the Twitter threads. I'm gonna start with this one. You've probably seen this mentioned in passing a couple times, but I've never seen anyone read it in full, but you can generally get the idea. Originally, Ventura was supposed to voice Sonic, but since her mic wouldn't arrive on time, and she wasn't able to do the role. That's fine. And that's okay. After all, Bolt wouldn't wait a month for her to get a new mic. Then Bolt reached out to her again, and asking Vin to be the voice of Shadow. Well, though the mic that she ordered would be arriving in 2 days. Then, of course, it arrived, but Bolt had already gotten Humanitarian to do the voice. This is the thing that most people mention, and it's pretty much just Vin confirming what's talked about in the document. Whoops. Then, now, I need you to remember, Ventura and Farkle are friends. And so, I'd imagine, when the entire thing came out, Ventura probably saw Farkle and Furajester talking about the whole thing on their Discord. So, Vin reached out to Bolt about monetization, and he agreed to move all the Omen stuff from the Patreon and not damn monetize the goddamn game. But he didn't, and moved to a different site. Right, presumably either Coffee or Boosty. Of course, Vin called him out. And then, this happened. I covered this in my second video, but of course the full read of the thread is something you can easily get. It's something that you should get. And yeah. Oh. Okay. Don't mind the Risk of Rain 2 wiki being open. I've actually been playing that game a lot because it's good, and you should try it. Now time for the second one. This one's about the Game Jolt ads. I linked... These next two threads are linked in my first video's description, but I'm gonna read them now. Oh, just in case you didn't read the goddamn description of my previous video, plus they were added in updates. So you might not have seen them even if you did read the description of my first video, assuming you watched that video. Which if you haven't, I recommend that you do. Oh? or at least read my extra information document, which will be linked in the description for a document that I've made that functions as a sort of link tree. You've probably actually seen it when looking at the Google Docs menu that I've shown throughout this video a couple times. But yeah, you get the picture. Either way, yeah. Basically, once again, basic recap. They initially showed that everyone they made ad money, $10, on Game Jolt by accident, with the pretense that it was okay since they were going to use it to give away a Sonic Origins. Which they then silently changed to Frontiers, and then never did hit the goddamn giveaway. If anything were louder than the numerous words out there on the Omens devs, it's their actions. It's Omens says referring to Ouroboros Studio, obviously, or I guess John Rise and JOH. Bolt is kind of just hanging in the back watching it happen instead of actually fucking doing something about it. Oh my god, Bolt. Bolt, seriously, you lead the goddamn studio. Although John has left. If JOH is still a part of the studio, you could just fire him right now. And make a public statement condemning his actions. Sorry if I talked very fast there. That's just to show I'm frustrated. Yeah. They've harassed anyone who dared say something negative, and they collected money during the game's development. In fact, Bolt himself provided the receipts. They tried to use an unlisted video from after the second public build of the game release to try and paint their biggest hater as a deranged stalker hating on them from day zero, when in reality they were the ones harassing them. It's not. And well, yeah, it's dumb. If you couldn't tell, I'm just reading and slightly paraphrasing it, because obviously. Then they justify their actions due to Katie dropping her Discord account on the server. However, even though every single time the thing becomes very public in the Sonic community, they silently hide everything. Before Sega can find out. And, of course, they wanted people to pay them to play test when the developers should have been the ones paying the testers, not the other way around. Of course, they've confirmed that this is the case several times, and this was the basis for the entire thing happening. And now they're blaming the sanctions against Russia that came into effect in March 2 years ago. As to why they haven't been using those $10 plus an extra $50. We need to give away Frontiers, but let's be real here. The money's already gone. There's numerous threads on Steam on how to legally get around the sanctions and make game purchases. So yep, they're lying. Again. And at this point, a Steam-only giveaway is better than nothing, especially since consoles are banned in Russia. So you can't just use the "we got sanctioned" thing as an excuse. Oh yeah, by the way, they've been circumventing government bans for years. It's how JOH was even able to do his bullshit in the first place. Yes. So, we can't legally do it is an invalid excuse. Besides, how do they even collect the $10 that the sanctions are responsible for no giveaway? Since the sanctions would technically make collecting money impossible. PayPal has suspended Russian payments already, and that's what GameJolt uses for its payments. So this leaves two options. The malicious option and the illegal option. The malicious option is to say, no, we never collected the money. We only said that to save face, and we didn't expect people to keep bugging us about this giveaway. Then the other option is just use what they have to hold the giveaway. Make a non-rush. Use the non-Russian PayPal account for it. for it and then make a non-Russian Steam account and link that PayPal to it so that they can make a purchase. And given their history with Patreon and Boosty, they probably do have more than $10 in that PayPal account unless they were dumb enough to not use the same account for all free. I presume it's all Bolt making the account, so... But, of course, using other accounts to circumvent bans is against the site's TOS's, which means that we want to do this legally approach is covering their bases on a legal end, unless they had withdrawn on that money prior to the March 2022 PayPal ban, which means they still lied to us anyways. By the way, all current evidence points into the fact that, yes, they do probably have a non-Russian PayPal account. Game Jolt only pays out through PayPal. In fact, it says here, if you don't have a PayPal account, you will not be able to withdraw any money. Please be sure to sign up with a PayPal account before trying to withdraw funds. There are also reports of certain Russian users receiving their payments after the ban in March 2022. But those were for withdrawals in process, not new ones. And of course, just a general reminder, no, they have not atoned for what they've done or debunked the claims at all. Then there's this stupid fucker who thought Fuhrer Jester and Farkle were the same person. In which, look right here. Oh yeah, and once again, they're always evading. They've been evading bans on a daily basis. Now here is the most recent Twitter thread that I'm gonna cite for now. Talking about on how Ouroboros are being complete and total assholes to Farkle. Well, starting with this. Apparently, fueling the fire is when you check up on the other party after a year, and not when the other party have multiple rants in their Discord server every time Farkle breathes, someone makes a joke about Omens, or when someone mentions their dislike of Omens. JOH's joke about blackmailing Farkle doesn't work, as Farkle's the first to tell everyone to stop in his own server. He does not condone their harassment, and that has always been the case. You guys put this in your own document, for crying out loud. But as you can see right here, I would talk more about this, but I'm not really sure. But I might end up dealing with copyright bullshit since it uses... This is multiple songs from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance in there, and, well, as again, copyright. I might get copyright striked or something. The few times he snapped is because you guys won't leave the kid alone. At this point, you guys are outright cyberstalking him. Since JOH deleted his account last year, he's telling others to gather the screenshots for him. Yeah, he wants others to provide him with the blackmail. With JOH saying some, dear God. The thing here is the real point of contention. And then, of course, there's JOH being God. JOH is straight up admitting that for him to stop getting people to stalk Farkle, Farkle has to apologize for events that actually fucking happened. And they've kept it going because they never got an apology that they are never getting, because such an apology is never necessary. Oh yeah, and by the way, the whole stalking thing is against both their own server rules and Discord's community guidelines. Heinz. Yeah, not great. Oh, by the way, before anyone says shit about this, no, I am not either of these two people. No, I am not Farkle or Fuhrer Jester. There is no fucking way that could ever be the case, as I am younger than both of them. Once again, I myself am a minor. So, come on, dude. There's an entire ocean between me and Farkle. Alright, so I'm going to discuss Oh yeah, something that happened and a couple of weeks ago is John got caught trying, or well, not necessarily got caught. John self-reported himself of stealing melodies from official Sonic game songs. Metal Supremacy, he uses as well. Metal Supremacy uses a melody from Eggman's theme from Sonic Adventure 2 in there. And John has confirmed this. And then Dragoon E0. His theme uses. This is a melody from Egg Dragoon from Sonic Unleashed. He does not provide credit to the composers of either song. So now this froze all of what John says about the Cars 2 music thing completely into question, because plain and simply, he knows how to sample a melody. So can we trust him? So even though he tries to show I didn't do that. Even though he shows exactly how he can do it. No, John has turned off monetization for the YouTube and music videos of both. Meaning that he won't be making money off it for YouTube ads. But he's still selling the soundtrack on Apple Music and making making money through Spotify ads. So he's still profiting off it. Though all he needs to do is just add credit to it. And to the original composers for it. And we're in fair use territory. Now I'm going to discuss Chum Zone. If you've been around Twitter regarding Sonic Omens, you've probably seen the dude. I got blocked by him for no reason. Yeah, blocked by him for, like, absolutely no reason. All I did was just reply to one and tweet, and I check, and he blocked me. Which is weird, because he hasn't blocked Fewer Jester or anyone else who have released documents on the game. He hasn't blocked me on his alt, though, so he could pester me on that, but that's none of my worries right now, since he hasn't done that. But generally, you get the idea. Anyways, look, if you couldn't tell by the document I've opened, I'm gonna show some oh god things. This document is courtesy of a user known as Zach Wood, who you might know. Who you might have seen on comments of several Omens videos. And well, yeah, this document is pretty up to date on the shit that happened. And if you couldn't tell by the blatant and linking of this document right here. For starters, Shema directly contradicts what Ouroboros have said regarding the situation. And the person who made the Maria model was never on the team. And then, a bunch of shit happened. Then a little bit of gap nonsense. But then, weird stuff. Including, this is... Yeah, it's creepy. It's either, as the document's beginning states, it's either extremely creepy or extremely stupid. Yeah. You get the idea. Now, now I want to talk about some random other shit. Because, well, I've kind of run out of things. Or, well, not really, but whatever. because I'm kind of just... Well, here's the thing. Both of my videos on this are really long, and I bet this is going to be way shorter, but, you know the drill. Blah, blah, blah. Because I have much less ground to cover this time. So, if you couldn't tell by what I said earlier, I was in the Sonic Omens Discord. I kind of just dropped my account there to see what the fuck was going on. And I literally just had the thought of, hold on, has John gotten permission from his friend at Karma Cardell all to you? There's a track that they both made when they were in a band together called Red Online. And in Sonic Omens. So, I did that, and I went to sleep a little bit afterwards, but whilst I was asleep, I got pinged by him in the Discord. Heard of him and just asking if the person who commented was me, who, of course it is. You can tell in the... You see, same profile picture, that's me. And then John replied, and, dear God. Either way, he definitively said, yeah, I did get permission, but it was delivered in, as I state here, the most immature and childish way possible. And by the way, this was just after I left the Omen server, so is the timing coincidental? Maybe. But, you know. This is stuff I've already talked about. Of course, yeah. JOH tried to use the thing that happened with the Underverse creator into the Earth creator. There is a false equivalency for the situation, particularly with presumably John Rise. These translations were done via DeepL, so of course stuff might getting lost in translation. Might be getting lost in translation, but you get the idea. Then there's this bullshit. This was directed directly at me, so, without being... they unintentionally made the entire thing personal. Which is the exact opposite thing you want to do when someone is intensively researching in the situation surrounding you. In your vanity project. Then, this. Now, I first found out about this through a tweet Fear Jester made. And since I was in the Omens Discord at the time, I actively looked for it. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna actively look for this. So, I did. I found it. And I translated it because I wanted to get a better idea on what the fuck he was saying. And well, if you're wondering why I censored the slur, the R slur there, it's because not good word, don't want to use it. I'm not gonna fucking use that word, ever. No slurs, ever. Not in a million years. This also seems more ableist than transphobic to me. Unless this is a mistranslation or something. Unless some bullshit translation caused the trans to translate into transformers or something, because, well, once again, translation bullshit. Oh yeah, and as you can see here, Sonic Omens doesn't use the exact original Infinity engine. Instead, it uses a fork of it made by Max and Adam. This is pretty obvious when you look at the UI they used. They didn't even bother to change it. They only credit Omen for making the original Infinity engine. They don't credit Max and Adam for creating this continuation that they used. And by the way, whilst the video linking to the download was made after the game had started development, and we have proof that it was that this continuation of the framework was in development before development for the game began. Which, let me show you. The first working build of Sonic Omens. So, the first working build of Sonic Omens was released in February of 2020, but the first footage we saw of the game was in November of 2019. And from a video made by Bolt showcasing a recreation of White Jungle that was made in the Infinity engine. Albeit, there's also a showcase of Crisis City running in the Infinity engine that uses a chaos control ability that is coincidentally very similar to what we see in the game. To what we see in Sonic Omens. Coincidence? I don't think so. By the way, if they do give credit, you can provide me with such information, or if you do, or maybe after I make this video, I'll look through the credits of the game and see if they give credit for it in the current build of the game, which is 3.2.0. Oh, by the way, before I go any further with the one thing I nearly forgot about, I need to mention something that I completely neglected to mention in both of my previous videos. They put a QR code in Chao Paradise that linked directly to their Patreon. I presume this has been in the game since Chao Paradise was in the game. Which is since, like, sometime in 2021. I believe May of 2021. But, of course, they silently removed it in 3.0.1, presumably. When I say silently removed it, I say silently removed it because they never acknowledge it in any of the patch notes. This pretty much directly ties the Patreon to the game. And for the time that it was in the game, which was over a year. So that's a lot of time where the Patreon was definitely tied directly to the game. So that means that, technically speaking, they could have been using this as a catalyst to profit off of the game. I, once again, probably used the word catalyst completely wrong, but you get the idea. Either way, time to move on to that thing I said I nearly forgot about. That I didn't address in any of the previous videos. Was the bad experiences that Techno Cinema, one of the composers for the project, had with the team, particularly John Rise. Oh yeah, by the way, judging by what Techno says here, this was in the public Discord, so chances are people would have seen it. Meanwhile, John gives the same kind of immature and way too long delivery that I've been on the receiving end of. So that just proves that John is a fucking asshole. Well, whoops. Fuck. Alright, now let's get down to the other stuff. For the record, these aren't DMs. Comes from Techno Cinema to Farkle after the Ouroboros Downfall document was released. I'd imagine people in Farkle's Discord have probably seen this. It's because... yeah. Hold on! I just noticed this. Ouroboros claims that the reason why... Ouroboros claimed that the reason why they had taken a bit to make a response is because they were at a convention, but that's clearly not true because they were doing stuff because they were active on social media at the time. And as Techno Cinema says, the document has their personalities pegged. JOH and others took one look at the document and reacted very dismissively. I would be crossing some lines if I shared screenshots of what they said, but it was pretty ignorant. I feel like I remember seeing the reactions to it in the Discord, but unfortunately, once again, I can't show those due to me leaving the Discord, for various reasons. This is the real point of contention for me. Techno Cinema was being paid for his work during the first half of his time on the project, right? But Bolt stopped paying him halfway through, around the release, the time that the episodes of Breakthrough and the Temple of Sands were released. If this was an isolated incident, it could just be negligence. It could just be neglectful forgetfulness. But Techno can't really be sure about that, though eventually Techno wasn't really motivated to continue that much, especially if other active projects, such as his work on Adrenaline Dubs, another Sonic-related project. Like, Techno had a plan to send one last draft of the music of the song that was meant to be used before the Exiled boss fight, and then call it quits. But with other projects to work on, this was less of a priority. You have time. Techno is willing to admit that this was partially his fault, though because of the way he was treated. That this isn't completely unwarranted, and I completely understand him. Eventually, Bolt just called for another composer to create music for the last two cutscenes. Another composer, who I forgot who I'm fairly certain I can't pronounce their last name without butchering it, but who I'm fairly certain I can't pronounce their full name without butchering it, but one composer was originally going to do that, but at their draft of it got rejected because the studio didn't like it. You can find it. If you just look for one of those Sonic Omens OST playlists, you can find the music that person made. And including the song that wasn't in the game. I actually had a little dialogue with them for their YouTube comment section, and they confirmed that they were being treated badly by the studio, so that's one more point. So that's another point in believing Techno. But after Techno was unable to provide the final songs for the project, Bolt called Techno unprofessional in front of the entirety of the Ouroboros studio work server. Could have taken the blow. He absolutely would have taken the blow. If it was just in private. If Techno was just called out for that by Bolt in private. But in front of the entire server? No, that's just unacceptable. Oh yeah, by the way, I mentioned this in the first video, but I want to give it a bit more attention here. Not only does Techno confirm that Area 99's theme was very deliberately based on unknown race from Cars 2, the video game, John had also treaded dangerously close to a song named Overkill by the artist Ryan for her Countdown, the song for the Citadel of Lotus level, which kind of explains why the song has a drop that sounds more Geometry Dash. It's more like something you'd hear in a Geometry Dash level than a Sonic level. Which, that isn't a bad thing, but it's still is rather odd. And apparently the final boss theme is also dangerously close to Bury the Light from Devil May Cry 5. Although, that's not the point of contention. If you'd ask me, the point of contention was, Techno was assigned for the task of writing the first draft after the final boss theme. And of course, they tried to force him to do the same, and when he attempted to stray from the temp track, John did it all himself. In fact, John used two leitmotifs is that Techno wrote for her without crediting him at all, as well as Guardian of the Light. Oh wait, I need to cover that in more detail. So, okay. Here's a little bit of a story. One or more of Techno's tracks were cut from the final game without him being told. Told for one reason or another. The one I do know for certain was cut was the story was Guardian of the Light. This theme is technically used as the story trailer theme, but you don't hear it in game. Either way, an adapted mix of Guardian of the Light was originally intended to be the theme of Gnarl. But as alleged by Techno, in a comment and on his video called from here, or you can go search for it yourself. Techno alleged that it's that because John, quote, wanted to score one more than him, Guardian of the Light was scrapped for Gnarl, and then it was replaced by a track made by John on Rise, which resulted in the Temple of Sands having nearly all the music in it being composed by John Rise rather than Techno Cinema. I mean, given how the entirety of the next episode had tracks composed by Techno Cinema, with the exception of White Jungle's theme, which was just taken from Sonic Forces. Versus, it's kind of a weird balance, but whatever. Although this does kind of exude toxic behavior from John's part, again. So, yeah. Either way, yeah, this is it. This will be my exit. I am really annoyed with all the shit that's going on. I will still update the extra information regarding Ouroboros Studio document. But for now, this will be the last time I talk about Sonic Omens publicly. Okay. Unless they somehow go even fucking further down the drain than they already have. In which case, yes, I will report on it on my Twitter. Either way, goodbye.